Okay, we have a lot to cover today. First and foremost, women only thrive off of negative emotion and they become obsessed with guys who stimulate their feelings. Yes, this is who she becomes obsessed with. The guy who is causing some kind of drama or emotional tension or negative emotion, you have to remember this. Women's emotions are opposite to your logic. So when you hear the word negative emotion, you automatically think this is really bad, therefore I'm not going to entertain it because that makes logical sense. And in her mind, since her emotions are opposite to your logic, okay, in her mind she goes, there's negative emotion going on, there's anxiety in my life, that means that something needs nurturing or fixing, therefore I have to go and fix that problem. This is how women respond to circumstance and situation. This is why the guy who causes negative emotion or anxiety in her life, she becomes obsessed with, and he gets 100% of her attention, and every other guy gets none. This is how it works. I'm here to show you everything. I've made hundreds of videos, maybe even thousands of videos teaching this. Because of that, this is my life's work. After today's video is over, join us inside of the Language of Women program and process. I've created a community with over 2,000 guys inside of it right now. I've been helping them learn, understand, and master the language of women for a variety of reasons, but pretty much what I'm helping them do is attract and retain the relationships that they want, all while helping them make sure that she doesn't desire to pull away and leave you. That's what I've been doing. I've built that. It's been amazing. Join us inside of that after today's video is over. Let's dive in. When I say women thrive off of negative emotion and become obsessed with the guys who stimulate it, we're just going to take this column by column. Okay, so this is what you're going to notice. You'll notice that women really only consistently sleep with and stay with men, okay, who facilitate feelings of loss or negative emotion in the relationship. So when I say stimulate feelings of loss, that means that part of her is always like scared to lose him. You have to know this, you have to learn this, you have to understand this. So let's give a few circumstances here. Even in, let's say, a sexless marriage, the only way oftentimes that the husband gets her excited again is by pulling back or creating space or allowing her to miss him. So if you made a list of everything that is, a negative emotion, fear of loss, fear of the relationship ending, fear that it might be over, fear that the husband might find somebody else, fear that the husband is losing interest, all of this anxiety and negative emotion, this is what she responds to now that creates feelings of desire, and now all of a sudden she wants to sleep with her husband again, most likely. This is typically how it works. So as you get older, as you date more, what you're going to see for yourself and what you're going to realize is that her mind and her imagination will work in your favor, okay? If you learn to sit back and do absolutely nothing and wait. What you're going to notice is the guy that she commits to, like in her heart of hearts, the guy that she's really loyal to, the guy that she really loves, he sits there and he basically does not a damn thing. And she just chases him around and is always coming, to see what he's up to. She's always initiating that contact and that communication because she loves his lack of care. That's going to sting, but this is the guy that she's obsessed with. So the guys who get cheated on are usually the men who do not cause any drama. I don't care if this hurts your feelings. Women are drawn to problematic men because problematic men create negative emotion. Negative emotion now unlocks her femininity because she goes, okay, I want to be sweet and loving and nurturing to fix the circumstance or the situation. That anxiety means that now there's something to fix, there's a problem to solve, and now she goes and puts her effort and emphasis towards that relationship. So women correlate, okay, a man who stimulates negative emotion as a man who has high SMV. I know that this might be completely opposite to how you categorize dating value, but I don't really care how you categorize dating value, because if you are here to learn how to attract and retain the interest of beautiful women, I'm going to show you what they care about, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. If you own a car dealership, you need to care about what your customer wants when it comes to the type of vehicle that they're choosing. Well, when it comes to your dating life, if you're here to attract women, you need to care about what they're actually looking for and what they find attractive, because that's really all that matters. Women correlate a man who stimulates negative emotion. Okay, they have correlation, or they view a man that stimulates negative emotion as a guy with high SMV, or a very high dating value. This is important to understand. Now, the sad truth is, since her emotions are opposite to your logic, meanwhile, a man who provides only positive emotion through consistency and commitment creates feelings, okay, that facilitate her to want to cheat or to leave, okay? So the commitment, the consistency that he's creating in the relationship by showing his love and showing his care and showing his admiration and always being there for her, what this does is now that consistency and that commitment creates feelings for her to leave or to cheat. So let's just take a second and create a list of all of the negative emotions that you could think of. Because there's a lot of negative emotions in a relationship if you actually think about it. The first would be FOMO, fear of missing out, fear of loss. If you even start to withhold your attention, or you start to create a dynamic in the relationship where you have a lot of value because you're not willing to give a lot of your time, she will instantly start to assume that there's more to you, or there's more layers to you that she wants to uncover slowly. It's like you're giving her something to work towards. This is important. Now, when you give her something to work towards and you're not there, now there's fear of loss. And the first thing that she thinks in her mind is, she goes, well, I don't want a different woman to have him, I want to have him. So now there's fear of loss, okay? Number two would be space apart. If you're a man and you're willing to create space apart, you have to understand just how few men are able and willing to do this. Let's say you go out of town, or let's say she goes out of town, and you're not trying to send a text message every single 2 hours, and you're not trying to start a phone call every single night. Right? You just assume that whenever she gets back to town, obviously she wants to see you since you guys are seeing each other. If you carry yourself with that mindset and you go, well, she'll just reach out because once she gets back home, she'll want to call me. Well, if you have that mindset, you got to understand, I would say, if I had to guess, I would say only 2 to 3% of men have that mindset of abundance, where they say, I've made such an impact emotionally. I am so high value. I have so much value that she probably sees that I assume, right, that she'll just naturally call me and she'll just want to see me. I bet you only 2 to 3% of guys have that mindset. Most guys are calling and texting saying, when do I get to see you? Are you back home yet? What are you doing? Did you make it to the hotel safe? Are you with your girlfriends? Who are you out with? What are you up to? I feel like you're not responding enough. What did you do last night? And the guy with this mindset that only 2 to 3% of guys have, he sits back and he goes, I don't really care. I'm going to just watch the hockey game. I'm going to just order pizza. I'm going to just go lift weights. He doesn't try. That space apart allows her to say, wow, he must actually have real options. This guy is probably so used to dating women that are at or above my current level of attractiveness that he feels absolutely no need to hurry up and send that text message. That's what she thinks. Now, another one right here, okay, would be mystery. If there's some space apart, now there's some mystery. She assumes that you're doing something. A lot of thoughts could work into her mind. Is he building a new business? Is he meeting a new friend? Is he cheating? Right? Maybe he's being loyal, but maybe he's in a social setting where there's a different woman who wants to be with him. Oh my gosh. And now there's a big question mark. Now she wants to find out all this stuff. You have to understand, words control basically like her entire perception of her entire emotion. So it's like you have to understand this. When you are trying to obtain love in a relationship, you're really trying to just obtain some words. And words don't really mean a whole heck of a lot. And this man in this 2 to 3% category understands this. Okay, so he's not attempting to really try. Now, another thing I want to tell you right here, another list of a negative emotion would be maybe you're just emotionally cold. You don't really care how things go. Okay? Maybe another one. Doesn't take the relationship or conversation very seriously, and he's mainly focused on himself. This is all the negative emotions that I could think of, right? Basically, the guy just doesn't really care if he's with her or not, so naturally that allows her emotions to work in his favor. Well, women's emotions are opposite to your logic. So even though this is a list of negative emotions, to her this is all good. And she might even tell you and say, hey, that's not very good. Hey, I don't like that. That's not good. She might tell you that. But you have to look at where she puts her love. You have to look at who actually gets her time. And most importantly, you have to look at who she decides to keep sleeping with. And it's going to be this guy right here. So I don't really care that she says, oh, I don't like any of this stuff, because if you look at where her emotions are drawn to, this is the type of guy who she's constantly trying to get a piece of his time. So women are attached to their feelings. She's not attached to you. She's not attached to your love that you're giving her. She's purely attached to her own feelings, which means at the end of the day, she cares about herself, which means at the end of the day, she cares about how she feels in the relationship, not how you feel. Now, you could be dating a woman or married to a woman for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and the second that her feelings don't work in your favor, and the second she is tired of this, she'll just leave you. So this is why you cannot invest a lot of time into a conversation, and specifically into love, and specifically into a bunch of words with a woman, because it doesn't really mean anything, because at the end of the day, words can change and feelings can change. This is why you need to spend as close to 100% of your time as possible on your own status, your own success, and your own future. That is the only thing that you can control, is you can control yourself, and you can control where you put your time. But you can't control how she feels about you. You can only spend your time chasing your own success. That right there is what I have done my whole life. I learned this at a very young age. It was just ingrained into me at a very young age. I spent pretty much all my time when I was really young lifting weights, and then I spent a bunch of time building my first fitness business. Actually, I was a real estate agent already by age 18, okay? I wanted to do that for a while. Then by ages about 20, 21, I started a fitness business online. Then I got into making YouTube videos about these topics. And what I've done my whole life is I've just literally focused on me. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that you have is where you put your time, right? So you have to weigh the pros and cons of everything. I have somewhat of a social life, but only in balance. Because you have to remember that for every second that you give anybody, I don't care if it's your best friend, I don't care if it's a dude you knew since you were in high school, I don't care if it's a coworker, I don't care if it's a woman you're dating, I don't care who it is. You only have 24 hours in a day. That's all you got. Which means it is your job at all times to prioritize where you put your time, because it's the only thing you can control. You can't control if something bad happens to you. You can't control if you get into, let's say, a bad car accident. You can't control if you get sick and catch a cold. You can't control anything really other than where you're putting your time. You can control where you put your time to the best of your ability. So do that, okay? The guy who's focused on himself, okay, is the guy who she is focusing on. Because he's looking internally and cares about him, she is now looking at him. Because he becomes that center of focus and attention. So, since her emotions are opposite to your logic, the guy who's able to facilitate these negative emotions that cause her to feel like he might be losing interest, this is the guy who she gravitates towards. Women are attached to their own feelings, and she will only focus on fixing, okay, what gives her the most anxiety. Okay? Let's say she has a newborn child, and that newborn child keeps crying and crying and crying, so now she has anxiety because the baby's crying. What does she do? She goes and fixes it. Women are so attached to their feelings, they oftentimes will only fixate on and care about what is present in the moment and happening right then and there. A lot of times they don't look to the future a whole lot. They don't even care about what's going on in the future. A lot of times it's all about satisfying immediate needs. Women satisfy immediate needs, which means that she only focuses on fixing what oftentimes gives her the most anxiety. because now there's a problem to be solved. Well, you could be a guy who's super high status, super wealthy, has a bunch of friends, very charismatic, not socially awkward, and very outgoing. And maybe, let's say, you're even great in bed. But because you're providing so much consistency, so much stability, so much commitment, and you're showing your over-attachment, she doesn't love you. She doesn't respect you. She doesn't even value your time and attention that you give her at all. So this is why her anxiety naturally works in guys' favor who isn't there for her very much. You'll notice that the guy who is always focusing on himself, or maybe he's always out doing something else that doesn't involve just sitting on the couch passively with her, that's the guy she starts to fall in love with. So she, is truly only loyal to her own emotions, and women naturally want something to nurture and to fix. So she is loyal to fixing the one thing in her life at that time that is causing her the most drama, the most anxiety, or the most emotional tension possible. That is what she focuses on fixing. So if nothing is causing her anxiety, right, let me show you how deep this even goes. Let's say she's married to a guy who is 7 feet tall, who makes $100 million a year, who is very well known, and he's famous for being a professional athlete. But let's say every day she wakes up in that mansion and stuff is just too perfect. She's bored. She needs something to fix. She will actually go find a problem to solve, or she will naturally create a problem so she has something to solve that will give her the anxiety of emotion that she needs to feel stimulated. Think about that for a second. Completely opposite or completely different to how you probably live your life. So it's impossible for her to be loyal to you because her loyalty is purely based on a mindset and imagery of a value of perception. It's perception. Her attraction is literally a mindset of perception, how she views you. It is not the way that you see the world at all. Okay? What you have to remember is women feel different things that can cause an increase in her attraction towards you or a decrease. But one thing you need to know is it's not constant. Okay? If you think your girlfriend is really hot and you wake up every day and you're like, she's so gorgeous, I think she's just so hot. You will probably wake up and think that she's hot every single day. And truly, most guys, she might say something and you might be like, oh, that's kind of weird, or, I wish she wouldn't have said that. But it's not like you wake up and you go, oh, I'm just not that attracted to her anymore. Because that's not how it works for you. With women, words matter so much. Words can cause an increase or a decrease in attraction. That's why every single word matters. If you don't know if you should say something or text message something, literally just don't say it. Because most of you guys, what happens is you actually ruin your own relationships by over communicating because you're saying things that she just didn't want to hear in that moment. It's better to just say nothing than run the risk of saying something that is not needed. One too many text messages, one too many phone calls, it's not worth it. Because a lot of times that added communication doesn't even equal you seeing her more or less. It's just giving you this false reassurance. So keep that in mind. A woman's attraction can fluctuate. Her entire attraction level can change with time. So what I can tell you is you need to get used to managing her emotions and her internal state by managing your own emotions and your own internal state. That's the only way. Until you master yourself, you cannot get into a relationship. You have to literally be that strong. The reason why every guy that you know who's your friend is single or constantly gets broken up with or is constantly cheated on by his girlfriend is because so few men today have mastered their own internal world of stoicism to the level needed to not get reactive to actually pass her tests. That's why. You're going to hear a lot of different things. You're going to hear, oh, they just grew apart. There's no more chemistry. Maybe if they were married, you might even hear, the main issue was all these financial problems that they had. What actually happens in the real world is he is over-attached And that over-attachment causes him to no longer be able to pass her interest tests, and she thinks he's weak. That's the real reason, in my opinion, why the whole relationship goes south. Okay? You need to get used to managing your own emotions. So women are a reflection of your lead. So here's what happens. If you get really reactive, watch her get really reactive, and she starts to not like seeing you that way. If you start to get really needy and needing a bunch of communication, and you're reacting to her every move, watch her start to get disinterested, okay, and frustrated that she's even with you. If you start to get argumentative, watch her become mad, watch her become argumentative, watch her start to get angry in front of you. Okay? Watch her start to get angry in front of you. Watch her even start to separate herself from you almost instantly, where her emotions no longer work in your favor. Your silence, okay, is louder than your words. When you're a man and you're operating with a relationship, or you're operating with your own mindset in a relationship, wondering what to do next, a lot of times if you don't know what to do, you need to sit there and just be quiet. Just say nothing, because most of you just talk way too much. You talk way too much, you send one too many text messages, you over communicate. You don't need to go and call her up and say, hey, how's your day? Did you get another ice cream? You don't need to go tell her that you're going to buy another ice cream. You don't need to go give her an update that now you're doing this, and now you went to this store and all this. You're just talking too much, okay? Most guys, you're giving updates about what you ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, telling her what went wrong at work today, and by the end of it, she goes, this guy's so boring, there is no mystery, he's overly available, and she goes, I'm sick of this. That is why I advise you to do one thing. Since I teach this better than anybody, since this is my life's work, you need to take this a step further. You need to join us inside of that community, and you need to go and learn and understand and master the language of women. I just created a brand new behind-the-scenes presentation for you. That behind-the-scenes presentation is only available to view in the new page that I just made. It's in my description down below. Go and see that. Okay, listen closely. Even me, I'm the one who made the program and the process and the community. I'm the one who created the process to help guys learn, understand, and master the language of women. I did it. Even me, even though I'm the one who built it, even me, I did not expect this many guys to have success from it. Go and check out that page. You'll see exactly what I mean. To this day, even I can't believe it. And here's what you need to know. I build everything myself. The page that you go and you click on, I built that whole thing. I didn't hire anybody to do that. I built the whole video presentation. I built every single thing on that page. Everything. I typed every word myself. It is my stuff. When you come into my community, you're dealing with something I built, not somebody else. You're not dealing with something that somebody else made or outsourced or hired someone to go build or use some type of none of that. It's me. This is my life's work. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.